This is not something that people in the public will normally get. But for growers, it's something to worry about.
A farm in Quebec's Lanaudière region, north of Montreal, is dealing with an outbreak of avian flu following a report by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, which detected an outbreak of the H5N1 avian influenza virus on January 31st in Saint-Jean-de-Matha. The federal agency has created a control zone in the area to limit the spread of infection, as this marks the first outbreak of the virus this year in the province.
This is something we never had before in Canada, to have several years with highly pathogenic avian influenza outbreaks coast to coast.
Université de Montréal professor Jean Vaillancourt says this isn't surprising considering they have seen a reduction in outbreak since 2023. He notes that the infected poultry farm handles ducks and turkeys.
What we know is that the strain of H5N1 that's involved in Quebec is the one that we have in British Columbia. It's been moving east over the past several months.
British Columbia has recorded 220 locations with more than 8 million birds infected, as well as the first ever case of the virus being detected in a human in Canada. Last month, the United States recorded its first death of a human infected with avian flu after a case in Louisiana.
There's some concern, but what we know is that the environment in Canada pretty much coast to coast is contaminated.
Sylvain Charlebois of Dalhousie University says Canadians should not worry about rising costs compared to the U.S., as U.S. egg prices have reached unprecedented levels.
Depending on where you are in the country, we are expecting higher than average prices, higher than average increases in markets like BC, for example, Ontario, and potentially in Quebec, depending on how Quebec is going to be impacted by the avian flu overall.
Charlebois says prices can be expected to rise minimally around 6 to 10% compared to the U.S., which he says is seeing an 80% increase.
Whatever poultry you will purchase at the grocery store would not have the virus per se.
People shouldn't be concerned. If you're buying a dozen of egg at the grocery store, it is not contaminated by the avian flu, and you won't contract the avian flu as a result of buying those eggs at all.
In Montreal, Tehosterihens Deer, City News.